This is a sheet of BFK, and I'm going to line it up to measure it. It measures 30 by 22 inches. You can measure in both directions. And I'm going to tear this in half as well. So I'll just move this down to 15, line it up with the grid to help if you need to do precision registration. With the heavy paper, you don't want to tear more than one sheet at a time, because you won't get good results. Now I need to register the paper. Be careful not to crink it when you're handling it. When you're handling good paper, you want to support it. You don't want to grab it like this and put a crink in it, okay? Or like this. So never grab your paper like that. See, I made a little crink. So support it. Use both hands if possible. I'm going to line my paper up so the edges are equal, and just slide these down so that each end, which is where I'm going to put my registration mark, is visible. Then I'm simply going to take a ruler, measure halfway. You could use the grid on the table for this as well. And I'm going to put a little mark here at 7.5, which is my halfway mark. And up here again. If the paper's a little different, if it's like 16 inches or 15.5 inches, just split the difference with the ruler so that 7.5 will be in the center. I'm going to draw a line at the edge here where the decals are showing, just through the edges, and I'll put a little line up here as well. And at this edge, this is going to be my top of my paper. I'm going to place a little T mark, and that tells me it's the top. If both ends are the same, it's kind of hard to tell which end is which. And for black and white printing, probably doesn't matter, but if you're printing more than one color, it does matter. You want to know which end of the paper goes to the top, otherwise you'll print it upside down. And then here I'm going to, again, just stagger my paper, same as before. It doesn't matter how much it's staggered, as long as you have a line on each sheet of paper. It also doesn't matter if they're a little bit off, each one, because when you register this paper to the plate or stone that you're working on, each print will be individually registered to the plate. So if they're a little bit different, they'll still be registered to the next plate the same way. One other little tip is, since we are registering here on this deckle edge and it does vary so much, if you are doing a color print, you should trim off just a little bit with a razor blade here. It won't show on the final print, and it will give you really precise registration. When we put this on the plate to print, we're gonna, or stone, we're gonna put the T end up on the registration, and that'll determine how far our paper goes in the forward or backward direction. And if this paper here is a little bit long or short, it won't matter as long as there's a mark here. But this end will matter. You want that right up against your registration mark on the plate or stone.